I don't know what's going on, but these women these days are showing women to be totally different than how we expected them to be. Going straight on this one. Firstly dealing with this. This would be the New York Post. Okay? A Louisiana chair mum who had sex with her daughter's 14-year-old classmate has been sentenced to 26 years in prison after her own daughter begged for her to get the harshest penalty possible. Leanne Yamorino, 45, pleaded no contest to having sex with a 14-year-old who went to her daughter's school in Ascension, somewhere in America, while also texting at least 5 other teenagers, according to WBRZ2. Her young daughter addressed the court on Tuesday, begging for her mum to get the maximum penalty on ruining her family's life, the outlet said. The self-styled chair mum, who looked teary-eyed and red-faced in her mugshot, sobbed and bowed her head throughout her sentencing hearing. Judge Claudia Turner agreed, giving the twisted mum the maximum 10 years in prison for her both counts she faced for carnal knowledge, as well as 3 years for each indecent behaviour charge. The sentences will run consecutively, adding up to 26 years, meaning Yamorino would be over 70 before she's freed again. She will also have to register as a sex offender for the rest of her life. Wow, okay. But this isn't the only story that I've come across regarding this. You know, this is becoming a bit of a familiar thing, you know? I mean, for us to move on a bit to the other woman in the thumbnail, okay? This has come up, okay? This is World Star Hip Hop, okay? According to reports, a 22-year-old Florida gym teacher, Yisma Anglinas Ramos Figueroa, admitted to sending inappropriate texts and a photo to a 13-year-old student, police say. She was arrested after the boy's mother alerted authorities and now faces 2 felony charges for sending obscene and harmful material to a minor. She is currently held at the Osceola County Jail on a £10,000 bond, according to jail reports. Okay? So, we have 2 different cases, okay? Now, it's been suggested, okay, that women PDFs are a greater number than there are men. Okay, that's a suggestion. Okay, but because they're women, they're seen to be less suspected of the crime. And B, as we know, as the old nursery rhyme says, sugar and spice, all things nuts. Sugar and spice, all women are nice, or all girls nice. So obviously, you know, and let's not forget they get a pass anyway. When it's for this kind of thing, more time or not. But it seems to be more of a commonplace thing. Women abusing their position of power in certain roles. For example, in this case, teaching roles. I can go on and show several examples of women in prison roles, prison officer roles, to the point of people suggesting, hey, let's not have women in these roles. But I digress. So, what's it all about? What's going on here then? You know? I've got my own little theory regarding this. I think because women as teachers, you know, and I've noticed this, and I was at school as well. I'm not going to go into detail, but 2 things. I think women that are teachers are around students so much, around these kids so much, they become childlike. You know, and that applies to the men as well in some cases. But hey, I'm dealing with the women right now. They become childlike, adopt childish ways. And they're more or less adult kids because they're around kids 24/7. This is my opinion. So that combined with the fact that because they're kids, like school kids, like schoolgirls, they develop these little crushes, and you see it happening, playing it out. We see it play out when, in both these cases, when they're entertaining little kids, because they become childlike and think they're kids. To the point where in the first story, the girl's kid is saying, "Guess what? Hit my mum with the hardest sentence," and now the mum ain't coming out till she's 70. So that's one side of the coin. Okay, and another thing as well, in many cases, like a lot of these young kids, they may not be mature in terms of life experience, but because, especially, let's scratch that. They may be mature in terms of not so much in life experience because they're still young, but a lot of them because they're inquisitive about life. When they're in conversation, because they're asking certain key questions, there's some of them, which is, about life. So a lot of these women find it, these young kids showing an interest, that coupled with the fact that a lot of these kids are physically mature, so that kid could be 6 foot or 14, stick a pin there. Right? What happens there is, because the kid seems inquisitive, because he's quite tall, the woman thinks, wow, he's showing an interest by his questions, he's got the height, and because they're, like I said, childlike, they gravitate towards the kid. Next thing she's sending messages and bombarding the poor kid, and the kid doesn't know any better. If the kid is streetwise or street smart, he'll probably get a little something, because if he's advanced for his age and he's mature, especially sax, as in sax music, sexually mature, TikTok, you know how we do. So obviously going to try and get a little something off that. If not, then the kid probably wouldn't know what's going on. And in the child's innocence, will go to the parent, tell the parent, the next thing you know, the teacher's in trouble. And rightly so. But like I said, stick a pin there because of the kid's height. Only today I was getting off the train, and some kid was like, chatting to everybody, being chatty. And they had a kid talking. I thought the kid was like 20, because the kid was like 6'2". The kid said to someone, "Yeah, I'm only 14, but yeah." I'm like, wow. Some tall kid, 6 foot, whatever it is, it's only 14. That kid had a level of maturity. So that kid's in class, he's 6'4", has a level of maturity about him, a little bit of charm going on there. And it's no surprise that the teachers will probably, feel away, and next thing they know, get carried away with their emotions and feelings. And next thing you know, boom, she's having it away in the toilets with some young boy. But hey, another conversation. But let me leave it just there for now, because I'll be touching on this topic again later anyway. So let's leave it there now, and that's it. All right then, peace. Later.